Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. Reality, spirituality. It's a new experience. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. Reality, spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Reality, spirituality. Oh, now we getting real. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Time to get real. Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. Reality, spirituality. It's a new experience. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. Reality, spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Reality, spirituality. Oh, now we getting real. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Time to get real.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. You know why you hear the theme song twice on some shows. You hear the theme song twice. Sometimes you hear the Reality Spirituality theme song just once. Well, when you hear it twice, you know I'm scrambling around in the background. Yikes! Because the theme song is exactly 1 minute and 6 seconds. Yes. So I said, I need another minute. Oh, welcome to Reality Spirituality. This is the show where I share with you how I, Rebecca L. Norrington, Global Happiness Specialist, how I practice experience receiving more happiness in every single moment. This is regardless of what happens to me. This is regardless of my circumstances. This is regardless of whether I get that phone call or not. This is regardless of whether they say yes or they say no. Happiness is a practiced skill. And whatever you are practicing in your daily, moment-by-moment routine life, that is exactly what you are going to get. I was listening to this. I just found him. Wow, this guy is great. His name is Robin Sharma. I don't even believe I'm. Anyway, I haven't even started the show. Robin Sharma, SHARM, Robin. And I just found him last week, and this guy, he's really amazing talking about mastering certain things. And one of the things, we all know this though, what you practice is what you're going to master. What you practice is what you're going to master. And for me, Rebecca L. Norrington, Global Happiness Specialist, I have to say I have a few other interests, not a lot, exercise, fitness, teaching exercise and fitness, but my whole practice, my day is devoted to being self-aware and making decisions, conscious decisions in every single moment that is going to add to my happiness. And when I say happiness, let me be really clear, because some people have a problem with the word. Scratch the problem. Some people maybe the word is let me just back up a little bit. I'm so excited because I didn't have the show last week, and I feel like I've been shot out of a cannon. So let me just take a couple of deep breaths. Hold on a second, audience. Hold on a second. Oh, ooh-wee. Closing my eyes. I need another deep breath. Sometimes I get so excited. It's hard to stop. It's hard to stop the train from moving. And scratch the stop. It's hard to slow the train down from moving. And I have to slow myself down for a couple of times because I can't imagine. We get new listeners every week to the show, and here's this woman just screaming right out the beginning of the class, the beginning of the show. So let me just calm myself down, drop my shoulders a little bit. I love the excitement, Rebecca. But there's something about being a little bit too excited sometimes. Yeah, let me just reel it in. Let me go back to, especially for new people that just found the show, my definition of happiness is the ability to be at peace, regardless of what happens to me, regardless of what I experience, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of what I feel, regardless of my emotions, how I'm feeling in the moment. See, you're either living on the surface of the ocean or the bottom of the ocean. Well, you could be in the middle of the ocean. If you're living on the surface of the ocean, then you are going to be affected. You are going to be moved by what happens, whether it's calm waters, whether it's turbulent. If it's calm waters, you'll feel calm. If it's turbulent waters, you will feel turbulent. If there is a tsunami, you will feel that. So unless you're living at the bottom of the ocean where it's, what's the word? Peaceful, you are subject to whatever happens. And what I share is you don't have to be subject to the circumstances. When I say peace, it is a foundation. It is where you live. At any single moment, the first responders, anyone that has to respond or act in the middle of, say a firefighter, or even a person, or even a SEAL team member. There has to be some type of peace underneath for them to even, now they're walking into dangerous circumstances. There's got to be some kind of peace, some kind of steadiness underneath all of that. So that's what I'm talking about, how to maintain that peace, how to live in that place of peace, how to be peace, how to stroll through life, roll through life, walk through life, run through life, jump through life, but still maintain your peace. Is that possible? And that's the title of today's show, Mastering Happiness. It is possible. Have I mastered happiness? Hell no. But what I am mastering is what to eliminate, the behaviors. Scratch that. What I am mastering is recognizing the program that keeps me unhappy, meaning, let me give you a perfect example. For the last 3 days, I hope they aren't listening. They probably aren't. Based on what I witnessed, based on what I observed, they won't be listening to me. Whee! When I say we are as different as our fingerprints, there is an acceptance that comes along with that. There is a practice acceptance. when you practice acceptance of these other people that we know are not like us, when I say us, I mean each of us in an individual manner. When I was younger, I used to look at other people and, of course, make judgments. I knew what was wrong with them. I knew what they needed to do. I knew what they should have done. I knew what they could have said, all of that. And there was little to zero. Now, I'm going to be honest. There was zero acceptance of someone else, and especially me. Let's see, how do I say this? Especially when my topic and my expertise and my focus is happiness. So wanting to share that, I want you to be happy too. This is how you can be happy. This is what you need to do. I'll never, it was constant looking out, trying to help people and say, this is what you need to do to be happy. But the truth is, the acceptance of others, meaning, what if they don't? What if they're not interested in being happy? What if they think that buying things is going to make them happy? I had someone visiting me for 3 days, 2.5 days. And this person, if you put me on one side of the scale, they would be on the opposite side. They were the opposite of everything I teach. And this person is grandfathered in my life, and I used to work with them, and he's grandfathered in. That's enough said. And they kept telling me, yeah, I know you're happy, especially I know you're happy. Yeah. Well, I just bought my latest rare on eBay. That's making me happy. I have, and I'm not exaggerating here, over 3,000 records, CD, whatever. Old, people do the what is it called? Vintage records, all of vintage stereo system. 3,000, which I was told, records. They said it was an obsession to collect. I always wanted it as a child, never had the money to afford it. Now I have the money to afford it, and now whatever I want, I'm going to buy. And in fact, they're multi-millionaire, buying whatever they want. And the statement to me was, what I buy makes me happy. What I buy makes me happy. Now, the title of this show is Mastering Happiness. And what I buy makes me happy. Now, you know that I just sat there with my mouth hanging open, except for I didn't hang my mouth open. I didn't let them see my mouth hanging open, but from inside, it was hanging open. In fact, the programming of what I buy, and in fact, it was so deeply ingrained that everything that was bought, the intention was to make them happy. All of the things. Now can you imagine if you have, all of a sudden you have $1 million, not $1 million, it's not really a lot of money. Well, scratch that, because that's the perspective. $1 million. Let me just say this. $1 million is $1 million. I'm not going to put a value on it. I'm not going to say it's a lot, it's a little. It's both. $1 million is a lot, and $1 million is a little. It all depends on who you talk to. How's that? If I had $1 million and I just wanted to buy everything that I wanted that I thought was going to make me happy, yeah, for a moment while I'm shopping, while I'm looking, while I'm deciding, and I purchase, yeah, there is a moment of a rush. Wow, I have it. It's like getting a new car. a new outfit. You know what I'm talking about. We've all done it. We've all purchased items that I've always wanted this, or maybe, and now I have it. Whatever you purchase, I don't care what you believe, whatever you purchase, purchasing something is not going to make you happy. When I say the happiness that I'm talking about is not purchasing anything. The happiness I'm talking about has nothing to do with what is not what I'm talking about. Oh, geez, now I'm really just rambling. The happiness that I'm talking about is never about a purchase. It's about how are you feeling inside, your internal peace. I think that I was, I really don't have a lot of people around me all the time, that close vicinity for 2.5 days. And the first day I was, wow, because I hadn't seen them in maybe 25 years, 25, 30 years. It's been a really long time. And so there's a reacquainting and who they used to be and who they are now. So there's a lot of, for me, there was a lot of, okay, repositioning, what's my strategy, how do I navigate through this, and scratch that, how do I keep peace, how do I keep the peace? And really all I could do was accept their, hold on a second, audience. Let me just change this real quick. Okay. Accept their beliefs, accept what they think, because what I've found is people that are not looking for happiness, people that are not searching for peace, people that are not wanting to find something other than that's what's in the programmed world, the what is success, house, career, finances, relationships, all of that this world deems successful. When you achieve, all you need to do is look out in the world, and these people that achieve the most, there's a lot of evidence, and you know it. There's a lot of evidence of it's just not enough. Is this all there is? And what we talk about on this show is this is what's missing. One of the things that they said to me, because I'm living in the middle of the forest in this really nice tree house. I call it the tree house. And they said to me, I know this house makes you happy. Now, the first day I said, no, the house doesn't make me happy. And there was a pushback on that. And the only reason why I'm sharing this is because I had to learn something for the last 2.5 past days. There is constant learning every single day when you're open to it. Growth requires expansion, and for me, growth is uncomfortable. Scratch that for me. Growth is uncomfortable. Real growth is uncomfortable because it requires stretching. It requires getting out of the comfort zone. It requires doing something different. It requires doing something that's very uncomfortable, and doing what's uncomfortable more than once, more than twice, more than 4 times. Doing something uncomfortable. And the more you practice doing what's uncomfortable, the better you get at doing things that are uncomfortable. I got that from Robin Sharma. Thank you, Robin Sharma. That's not mine. So let me get back to the topic, mastering happiness. Is it possible to master? Well, you master what you practice. And happiness is ongoing maintenance. It is never ending. It's, living out in the forest, there is maintenance to the deck, there's maintenance to the roof, there's maintenance to the garden. Your internal, who you are inside requires maintenance also, meaning the practice is an internal practice. It's not about practicing juggling, but it is an internal. Well, let me say this. Let's go to juggling. I know I'm all over the map. This is what happens when I miss a show. Darn it, damn it, this is what happens when I miss a show. I have so much I don't even know if any of this is making sense. Practicing juggling, it's the same thing. When you start juggling, you're not good at it. You have to practice. It's the same thing with this happiness. Mastering happiness, it's not going to be mastered. But what's going to happen is, when I say it's not going to be mastered, there's always more to do. Like I discovered in the last 2.5 days, the evolution of what the first day, saying, no, this house didn't make me happy because, I got pushback on it. Now I have pushback. Now I have to respond to the pushback. Well, that's not peaceful. So then the next day it comes up again. The house, no, the house is not what makes me happy. But guess what happened the second day? There was no pushback. You're right. You're whatever you think, whatever you believe about me, whatever you want to believe about me, I'm okay. See, the peace is letting go of wanting to be heard and wanting to be right. I don't need to be heard. I don't need to be heard by someone else, and I don't need to be right. Ever. Now in the past, that was another person. She needed to be right, and she needed to be heard. She needed a lot of things, and the things that she needed were not leading to any more happiness. The need to be right is a really, really glaring. How many out there need to be right? And express it. Because you need to be right when you continue. When somebody makes a statement that isn't true, or isn't correct, and then you interject what you have to say, and now you have a little discussion and a back to back. But what happens if you don't need to? And there's no reason to. That's what I'm saying. It's not. This is on a personal level. This isn't a business. This is on a personal level. I don't need for anybody. You can be right in my presence every single time. I don't need to be right. I don't need to be heard. I'm talking about in my personal life. Let's see. There is an ongoing maintenance of, and there is an ongoing practice of there's ongoing maintenance and ongoing practice of how to navigate peace regardless of what's going on. Let me give you another example. Last week, I was a passenger in someone's car that had a totally different mindset or a totally different perspective on a certain topic. And yes, it was a political topic. There's so many. There's so many topics you can choose out there. And I sat and listened, and people aren't used to being agreed with. scratch that. Some people aren't used to being agreed with. And when I agree with someone that is totally contrary to my beliefs, there is a silencing of my ego that happens. Unless I'm on a debate team, I do not need to win. Mastering happiness, part of mastering happiness, scratch that. All of mastering happiness is mastering self. All of mastering happiness is mastering self. Now, let me say, the second day, which was really, you know, after you do the tours, and now you're having dinner talking, after you do all of the activities of the day, now the second day, a topic came up, and I contend, don't tell anybody, I contend that the universe, well, in my world, the universe wants me to find as much peace as possible. And there are certain topics in my life that trigger me. Even now, there are certain buttons that are pushed, and I am going to be on it. And one of them is, excuse me, everyone, one of them is spanking children. Now, I was spanked as a child. Hey, I don't know how I got from happiness to getting spanked, but here we go. Whee, let's go. I was spanked as a child, and quite frankly, my last spanking, I was 17 years old. Now, it was brutal. Lay on the bed, bottom up, belt, spanking, same spot, spanking. I mean, scratch that. It's a whipping. And I remember then, I mean, I'm almost starting to cry now. Snap out of it, Rebecca. Don't cry about that one. I remember thinking if I ever had children, I would never spank them, ever. So this particular person, listen, that's one of my buttons. You tell me that spanking is okay, 100% of the time I'm going to open my mouth. 100% of the time. Because the reason why people spank children is because they can get away with it. The reason why people spank children is because, you know, they're weak, they're little. You can do it. It's like taking advantage. They're helpless. Of course an adult can hit a child. So my counter with that is always been, well, you make mistakes, you do things wrong. I'm talking to the adults. You make mistakes, you do things wrong. Would you want to get spanked? Would you want to get hit for making a mistake or doing something wrong, or would you want to get hit? And when I asked that question, because that's what they said to me, spanking is good. I learned from it. Didn't hurt me. You know, you always get that. Didn't hurt me. I benefited from it. I learned from it. Oh, yeah, spanking is good. When I throw that, I don't even know how I got on spanking. Oh, gosh. Thank you, audience, for sticking with me. When I say, would you want to get hit? Would you want to get spanked? Of course, everybody looks at me, no. Why should I? But you spank a child? So the point is that was a setup. The universe knew exactly that I would still respond to the spanking, that I would still respond to that remark, that I would still say that spanking is you don't hit a child. There's other things that you can do. You never hit a child. Never. I mean, no, there's no reason. There's no reason to hit a child. Feeling it already. Because I contend, anyway, okay, let me just get to my point. So now I'm back and forth. I'm having a full-on argument. And I mean a full-on argument that you don't know what you're talking. I mean, full on, to the point where that they said, because they were supposed to, 3 days out of town, that I'm not going to stay tomorrow. I'm going to leave. This is too much. Really what's going on, you don't agree with me. I'm out of here. Wow. Now I say, please don't leave. You follow me, audience? Please don't leave. I want you to stay. I planned for you to stay. I have other things that I would like to show you. A full day of sightseeing. Please don't leave. So that's a total coming all the way back, coming all the way down, coming all the way surrendering. Doesn't matter the argument. You can win. Coming all the way back. Because why did I ask them to stay one more day? When clearly they were very angry. Oh, and of course a bottle of wine, yes. Very angry, wanting to leave, didn't agree, got heated. I'm out of here. You know the routine. Things get heated, back and forth, and then somebody wants to leave. Wanted to leave. I know I'm going off in a tangent. If you're listening to this, thank you for hanging in there with me. And I said, no, stay, please. And I got even into please stay. Please, please, please stay. And why did I ask them to stay? The reason why I asked them to stay was I needed more practice. I needed more practice with someone who was totally opposite of my beliefs, my totally incompatible energy. My beliefs, the way I travel, totally opposite, incompatible. I need you to stay. I need how to be peaceful even with someone like you. You know, the thing about don't hang around the negative I need some practice. I need more practice with someone who is the opposite of me. I need more practice of how can I maintain peace, and how can I be peaceful with someone who is totally the opposite of me. Is it possible? And what I had to do, talking about mastering happiness, what I had to do was talk even less. Talk even less. This mastering happiness is an ongoing strategy, and you build it as it happens, and you practice as it happens, and you practice when the circumstances present it to you, right on the fly. It is ongoing, and you never know where it's going to hit you, left, right, up, down, but you're ready because you've practiced. And I didn't want them to leave, not because I enjoyed the company, but I needed more practice. And I got my last day of practice. Mastering happiness, the mastery of happiness is an ongoing activity. It never ends. You know, for my long-time listeners, you can feel when I'm a little scattered. I feel a little scattered today. However, it's all good. That's another thing. Accepting of self, where you are, what you're saying, how you're saying, all of it. No criticizing of self. Practicing no criticizing of self. Definitely, when you practice no criticizing of self, then you don't criticize others. There is no way to criticize others when you're practicing. I mean, why would you? criticism and being happy and at peace don't live in the same place. You can't be critical and happy. You can't be judgmental and happy. You can't be negative and happy. So what are you going to practice? And I'm in my third stage of life, meaning I'm at the end of the road. The end of the road, third stage. Time is ticking. The practice is going to be all the way to the end. And it's not about a mastery. It's just about the continued practice. Happiness is a practice skill. And my favorite quote, cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. There's nothing that you can buy that's going to make you happy scratch that. There's nothing that you can buy that is going to feed you for a long period of time, for longer than a day or a week or a month. You know, when you get a new car, it's great in the beginning, and all of a sudden it wears off, like anything else that is purchased. Well, that's not true, because some people really get a lot of enjoyment, continued enjoyment about things that they purchase. Now I'm really going off. Woo! I'm going to wrap up the show. Whee! Let me just say this. One of the things hold on. Let me hold on a second. When I say happiness is a practice skill, it is about committing to the practice daily, moment by moment. It is never ending. There's always something to do. The rewards, the benefits, is that when you are in the middle of a storm, or when you are in a turbulent place, or when life is going up and down and you're feeling that anxiousness, anger, whatever that feeling is that you really rather not feel, that is the time when the practice kicks in. That is the time when the peace goes on automatic. That is the time when you can reach in and grab all of that, what you've been practicing. And what have you been practicing? Well, what adds to happiness is surrendering to whatever is happening in the moment, letting it go, humbling your ego. My ego, the first day, I had a little bit out. Second day, a little, if I go back and forth with you, you know it's my ego. Humbling the ego. When I humble my ego, it doesn't have that much power. Knowing yourself. Acceptance of self, acceptance of love of others. Living consciously, being okay with uncertainty. Allowing others to be themselves without judgment, comments, and or suggestions. That was for me. Allowing others to be themselves without judgment, comments, or suggestions. Trust, letting go of the illusion of control, because it is an illusion. I'm not controlling anything that's going on here. I'm not controlling anything that's happening. What I am controlling is how I'm responding, if I'm responding at all. Choosing your focus, choosing your perspective, self-awareness and awareness. Not personalizing anything. Nothing, not personalizing what anyone says to you, about you. It's never personal. This is the biggest one. This is another big one. Staying out of other people's business. Telling yourself the truth. You don't have to tell anybody else the truth, but telling yourself the truth. So the practice is ongoing. Mastering happiness, mastering it, there are stages, there are steps. Mastering, there's something else to master, there's something else to master. There's always going to be something to do, which is really very exciting, which is really keeps you, you're never going to be bored. Well, that's the end of today's show. Thank you for listening to Reality Spirituality Radio. The Truth About Happiness is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Visit my website at RebeccaNorrington.com. Follow me on Twitter at RLNorrington. LinkedIn. My Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. YouTube channel is a work in progress, but feel free to check out those videos I do have. My first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, is on Amazon, and let me say this. The second book, Program for Happiness, is coming out sooner than later. So until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. You're always evolving. You're always changing. You're always growing. Love is patient, and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself. Be your own best friend. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, Global Happiness Specialist Rebecca Lynn Norrington. Have a conscious week, and remember, happiness is a practice skill. Your experience in every moment will reflect what you practice. Thank you for listening. Have a conscious week.
Yeah. Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man. Reality, spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Reality, spirituality. Oh, now we get real. Getting real. Get down. Yeah, you gonna feel good.